Today we will see the legend of Vlad the Impaler and his legacy of terror. In the 15th century, the vast territories of Eastern Europe were gripped by an unending struggle between empires. The Ottoman Empire, ever expanding from the south, clashed with the Kingdom of Hungary to the west. It was a time of fragile alliances, relentless invasions, and brutal power grabs. In this chaotic landscape, a boy was born, one whose name would be etched into history with blood and terror. His name was Vlad III, a name whispered through the ages with fear and reverence. But history remembers him by another name, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad III's story begins in 1431, in the fortress town of Sighisoara, in what is now Romania. His father, Vlad II, was a member of the Order of the Dragon, an elite Christian knightly order sworn to defend Christendom from the encroaching Ottoman forces. Because of this, he earned the name Dracula, meaning the dragon. And so, his son, Vlad III, became known as Dracula, the son of the dragon. A name that would echo through history. However, young Vlad's life was destined to be shaped by betrayal and violence. At the age of 11, Vlad and his younger brother, Radu, were taken as political hostages by the Ottoman Empire. Their father had pledged loyalty to the Sultan to maintain his shaky grasp on Wallachia, and the Ottomans demanded the boys as collateral. For years, Vlad lived among his captors, enduring psychological manipulation and witnessing the ruthless politics of the Ottoman court. These years of captivity left deep scars on the young prince. He saw power as something to be taken by force and held through fear. And in the Ottoman dungeons, he learned how fear could be a weapon more powerful than any blade. This would mark the beginning of the man who would later become the Impaler. Upon his release, Vlad returned to Wallachia in chaos. His father had been assassinated, and his elder brother buried alive by the treacherous boyars, Wallachian nobles, who sought to control the throne. Determined to avenge his family and restore order, Vlad knew he had to send a message. He had to strike terror into the hearts of his enemies and secure his power with a brutal, iron fist. When Vlad reclaimed the throne, his vengeance was swift. He invited the conspiratorial boyars to a grand feast, luring them into a false sense of security. As they feasted, Vlad's soldiers stormed in, and the unsuspecting nobles were taken prisoner. He sentenced the traitorous boyars to a slow and agonizing death by impalement, a method he would later become infamous for. It was said that the boyars were skewered on long wooden stakes and left to die slowly in the sight of all. This spectacle sent a clear message to the rest of Wallachia: defiance against Vlad Dracula would mean a fate worse than death. Over the next decade, Vlad waged a relentless campaign to maintain his rule and defend Wallachia from foreign invaders. The Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed II, sought to expand his empire into Europe and demanded that Vlad pay tribute. But Vlad defied the Sultan's demands. In an act of open rebellion, he attacked Ottoman outposts along the Danube River, slaughtering thousands of soldiers and civilians alike. The news of his atrocities reached Mehmed II, who launched a full-scale invasion of Wallachia. But Vlad was not intimidated. To slow the Sultan's advance, Vlad resorted to his most infamous tactic, mass impalement. As the Ottoman army approached his stronghold, they were met with a forest of bodies, impaled on towering stakes, stretching for miles. The sight was so horrifying that it was said Mehmed himself hesitated to advance, and his troops' morale broke under the psychological pressure of facing an enemy so ruthless. Yet Vlad's terror was not reserved only for his enemies. To his own people, he was both protector and tyrant. Legends speak of his harsh justice, stories of merchants who cheated their customers being impaled as a warning to others, and beggars who refused to work meeting the same fate. One particularly chilling tale recounts Vlad placing a golden chalice in the center of a village square. He proclaimed that anyone who stole the chalice would face impalement. The cup remained untouched, a testament to the fear he inspired among his people. Despite his ruthlessness, many saw Vlad as a necessary evil, a strong hand in an era of chaos. Wallachia was surrounded by threats, and Vlad's methods, while brutal, maintained order and deterred invaders. For this, he was celebrated by some as a national hero, while others branded him a monster. However, Vlad's reign was not without consequence. His merciless rule and defiance of the Ottoman Empire earned him many powerful enemies. His brother Radu, who had converted to Islam and aligned himself with the Sultan, became his greatest rival. With Ottoman support, Radu launched a campaign to depose Vlad. As his allies dwindled and his enemies closed in, Vlad was forced to retreat, leaving behind a trail of blood and destruction. In 1476, Vlad III disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Some say he died in battle, betrayed by his own men. Others claim he was captured and executed by the Ottomans. What is certain is that his head was sent to Mehmed II as proof of his death, mounted on a stake as a symbol of the Sultan's triumph. Even in death, Vlad's story ended in the same way he had lived, surrounded by terror. But the legacy of Vlad Dracula did not end with his death. Over the centuries, his story became interwoven with myth and legend. The name Dracula, once a symbol of power and fear, was immortalized in literature by Bram Stoker's famous novel, transforming Vlad the Impaler into the vampire count who drinks the blood of the innocent. Yet, behind the tales of supernatural horror lies the true story of a man driven by vengeance and survival, a man who wielded fear as both shield and sword, navigating a treacherous world of shifting alliances and bloody conflicts. In Wallachia, some still remember Vlad not as a monster, but as a defender of his people against overwhelming odds. To others, he remains a figure of unspeakable cruelty, a reminder of the dark side of power and the price of unchecked ambition. And so, the legend of Vlad the Impaler endures, a tale of blood, betrayal, and terror that continues to captivate the imagination of historians and storytellers alike.